Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's best practice session. Today we'll be discussing Fitwel's loyalty program and the V3 enhancements. We're so glad everybody could join. We're letting everybody filter in and take some time to join. So while we wait for everybody to filter in, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat and let us know where you're tuning in from. And just a little fun question today to mix things up. If you also want to share your favorite outdoor activity. So I'll share mine live. So I'm joining from Denver, Colorado, and I'm excited for summer to get back to hiking in the sunshine. Thankfully, we do have a lot of sunshine here in Denver, anyways. And I also love skiing and just got back from Taos, New Mexico, which I highly recommend.
So fun. I can jump in. I'm Anna. I'm joining from the Metro Atlanta area, and I'm also really excited for summer. My family loves to be out on the water. We bought a boat last summer, so we're water rats. Like we never leave that lake. So we're very excited for the warmth and the sunshine. It's my favorite time of year for that reason. So that's my favorite outdoor activity.
I love it. Sounds like we're both just waiting for summer.
I know. Has it been cold? I think it has.
I know, especially for you guys on the East Coast. If anybody's joining from the East Coast, you're probably waiting for summer as well, unless you're into skiing, and hopefully you've been getting some good snow.
Mhm. Oh, it looks like we've got some fun responses here.
Thanks, spring,
New York, swimming in the lake. I feel that one. Yep.
paddleboarding.
That one's really fun too.
Yes,
Great. Ooh, hiking and exploring national parks. Love that.
love it. Avoiding the blizzard, yes. Oh, Vicky, I didn't
Golfing.
know you were a golfer.
Okay. That's a fun fact, Vicky. Love
Yeah.
that. It didn't rain in the UK today. I love that. Yeah, sunshine. We all need it at this point, I think. We're ready for it.
Lots of snow. I know everybody on the East Coast. I'm kind of jealous. We haven't really been getting snow out here in the West. Oh, gardening. I'm jealous of the gardening. I don't have a green thumb. Nice. We have a lot of UK presence today. Hey, amazing. Well, we are about 3 minutes in, so continue to share where you're tuning in from. And if you just joined, we're also sharing our favorite outdoor activity any time of the year. We shared that we're missing summer and getting outside for hiking and getting on the lake. So continue to share. We love to know where you guys are tuning in from. It's great to see that we have a lot of global representation. Okay, well, I will kick us off. So thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. And we'll let everybody just continue to filter in. For anybody I haven't met, I am the Director of Client Engagement here at Fitwel. And I have been with Fitwel for about 5 years. I joined back in 2020 as a relationship manager supporting our champion users and now oversee the program as well as our customer success team. And I'm joined today by Anna Chapelier, and she is our senior relationship manager and will introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Whitney. So, yeah, I'm Anna Chapelier, and I've been with Fitwell for just about 5 years now, too. So, I joined back in September of 2021 as a customer success specialist, and I supported our users. I had a firsthand in creating of the Fitwell Help Center, which was super fun. And I have a background in sustainability consulting. So, yeah, I've kind of done a lot here, which is really fun. It's been nice to wear a bunch of different hats. So yeah, we're also joined here today by Rachel Seco. She's the director of standard development, and she'll be walking us through the Fitwell V3 enhancements later in today's session.
Yeah, thank you, Anna. Hi, everyone. As Anna mentioned, I'm Rachel Seco, for those of you who don't know me. I've been with the Fitwell team for going on 7 years now. I joined in 2019. Um, and I guess I'll just jump into Whitney's prompt earlier. I also live in Denver, Colorado, but I'm currently joining from Breckenridge, Colorado. I love skiing, and I also love the lake life being from upstate New York and the Finger Lakes. So excited to get back home to visit the family and go on the lake this summer as well. Um, but for my role as the Director of Standard Development, I oversee the development and updates to the scorecards and make sure everything that we produce is both evidence-based, practical, and aligned with the market needs. And I'm joining today and very excited to talk with you all about the V3 enhancements later on in this session.
Thanks, Rachel.
Oh, I see another upstate New Yorker.
We have a lot of upstate New York representation today. UK and upstate New York. I love it.
Yes.
So we're also excited to have a special guest today joining today's best practice session. So we have Michael Kloha joining us from Verdani Partners, who are a longtime partner and Champion Plus provider. So let Michael say hi.
Hi, everyone. I just to do your prompt from earlier, I'm from San Diego, so all about the sunshine, hiking, beaches. Can't say we've had any snow this year or ever, so we're doing pretty nice over here.
Always that nice, consistent, beautiful weather.
Yeah, a little rain,
Jealous.
but that's it.
Okay, well, we're very happy to have you. We're excited to get the conversation going. But before we dive in, per usual, just want to cover a few housekeeping notes. So in today's session, we will be recording it. So we will share it as part of the follow-up email, but also on the Help Center. And you'll find in the chat where to find all of our past best practice sessions. They're all hosted there, so you can even catch up on past ones that we've had. So please submit any chats, any questions in the chat, and we'll do our best to address them live. We might end up, covering some later in the session, but feel free to ask them throughout if anything comes to mind. And we'll try to answer as many at the end during the Q&A if we have time. These sessions are always scheduled for a 45-minute time period. They're meant to be educational and to benefit you all as our valued Fitwel users. So submit questions so we can help support you in your Fitwel journey. And then just to cover today's intent, the intent of today's session is to give you a clear understanding of the evolved Fitwel Loyalty Program and how it supports our users' longtime engagement and impact. And then also a preview of what's new and coming with Fitwel V3 maintenance and enhancements, as Rachel mentioned earlier. So to start, I want to kind of back up a little bit and talk about why the loyalty program, formerly known as the umbrella term as the Champion Program, why it was created. So at its core, the program was originally designed back in 2017 to recognize sustained investment in health and to build a community of leaders advancing Fitwel at scale. So since its inception, we've seen incredible growth and participation across portfolios, project teams, and partners, which is really exciting.
Yeah, and to add to that, Whitney, as the community has grown, so has the diversity of how organizations engage with Fitwel, whether that's certifying an individual asset, scaling across their portfolio, or embedding health into their broader ESG strategies. So if that's the case, then what even is that what prompted us to evolve this program in the first place?
Great question, Anna. And in short, it is always in response to our users' feedback and what we're seeing in the market. So we spent a lot of time listening closely to our valued partners' feedback on the existing Champion program. And what we consistently heard across the board was that there's a need for clear recognition pathways and differentiation between the program's different statuses, and really the creation of statuses within the program, a desire to benefit for benefits that better align with the different levels of engagement, and interest in increased visibility and recognition across the board. So those insights directly shaped the evolution of the program into what is now known as the Fitwel Loyalty Program. Our hope is that the new evolution of the program directly reflects the feedback we've received over the years and provides solutions for our partners' growing needs and interests. And we're sharing some links in the chat now so you can explore really our overview page and download the one pager if you're interested. So this refresh is about meeting everybody, all our users, where you are, celebrating what you've done, and supporting your continued progress over time. Another key shift that we made in the program based on user feedback is away from project number requirements to a spend threshold structure and commitment. So this helps really level the playing field for users that may have site projects with a higher certification fee where they're working on only a handful year to year in terms of projects, versus users with larger building portfolios that kind of come with a lower certification fee, but they have a larger number of projects. So this also provides the opportunity to qualify using the FSP certification, which is really exciting. And that is an annual certification. So really, we just wanted to open up the pathway to use any Fitwel product to qualify. And Anna will share on screen the Fitwel Loyalty Program overview page. So you'll see here that we have updated our website to reflect this new evolution of the program. And we have the new loyalty program overview page, as well as dedicated pages to each status for you to explore and learn more. So you can see where Anna's pointing to on the screen. You can go to the overview page, you can go to Champions, Champion Plus, and Premium Providers, which we'll cover what all those mean shortly.
Okay, so I'm going to jump in here. We really do try to listen to our users and do our best to respond in a manner that best supports everyone, all of you. So I'm going to go ahead and walk through the updated structure and the loyalty statuses. You'll notice that the refresh program now introduces a tiered structure, which is designed to better reflect where organizations are along their Fitwel journey, whether they're building momentum, scaling across their portfolio, or demonstrating that long-term leadership. So rather than a one-size-fits-all approach, organizations now move through statuses based on engagement, impact, and participation over time. And this creates clearer milestones, stronger distinctions between each status, and more transparent pathways for your growth as well. So to help visualize these, we've graphically shown you on this screen the path that users can take as they scale their use of Fitwel. And Whitney's going to go ahead and walk us through each of these statuses and how they build upon one another.
Thank you. So we'll share just the one pager that you can download on that overview page if you're interested to kind of help visualize, and you can see it on screen as I walk through what the first status means. So to make this really clear, we'll walk through these requirements and terms, but in terms of what they represent and how they support all of our clients' needs. We'll get into more of the specifics. So let's talk through the champion program first. So this champion status recognizes organizations that are actively using Fitwel and demonstrating consistent engagement. This status is unlocked through a $40,000 minimum spend in the prior calendar year and is ideal for teams that are integrating Fitwel across multiple projects or are just beginning to scale across their portfolios. As an example here to really contextualize it, if you were to spend $40,000 across any Fitwel product, and that being registrations, STAR certifications, or FSP, and recertifications as well, by February of this year, we'll just use this month as an example, you would unlock champion status for all of 2026 and 2027 since it's recognizing your spend in the prior calendar year. So you would have it through the end of next year. What this status signals externally is dedication. It tells the market that health is embedded into your business strategy. Because of that, we've added benefits that will help support you in your dedication to health and potentially towards your growth in the industry as well. So some of the benefits that we want to cover to be part of the status include website recognition on our champion page, as Anna was showing earlier, and marketing visibility via our social media and newsletters. Access to a dedicated champion email for strategy and certification support, quarterly calls with our partnership team to discuss your Fitwel strategic support, a 50% discount on our Fitwel Ambassador course to share internally across your organization and with any clients or partners that you want to extend that educational opportunity to. And lastly, a 5% discount for the first 3 months that the status is unlocked on an unlimited number of certification fees. And that is directly embedded into your account on the Fitwel platform. So the champion status is about building momentum and making the engagement visible. And I'll hand it over to Anna to really dive into the Champion Plus status.
Perfect. Okay. So continuing with that build momentum, Champion Plus is designed for organizations that are ready to formalize their dedication and their commitment to Fitwel at scale. This reflects a portfolio level investment and commitment to Fitwel. And in order to qualify for this status, you must be willing to look forward. So this is a 2-year spend commitment. And what that looks like, it breaks down to where it's an $80,000 spend for our Champion Plus companies, or it's a $60,000 spend for our Champion Plus providers. So this status signals that long-term leadership and alignment with Fitwel and your goals. So you've probably seen some promotion of our performance-based status also that's called premium provider, and that builds on top of the benefits of the champion plus provider status. So that, just to give you guys a brief background, it's an invite-only program for champion plus providers that are based on performance. But if you have more questions about that status specifically, please feel free to reach out and let our team know to learn more, and we can talk to you, at that point. But the main thing I want to focus on here is the difference between that champion status and how this champion plus status is a forward-looking commitment. So this is where users unlock, where users unlock the champion status based on their prior spend. Champion Plus is actually looking at what you plan to spend in the next 2 years. So that's kind of the key difference there. So we've added benefits to it because, again, we're building here. We're building on top of the tiered structure that we showed you just a minute ago. So the enhanced benefits to this program, similar to champion status, you will receive the recognition on our website, on our Champion Plus page, and marketing visibility via all of our social media sites and newsletters. There's a 50% discount on the ambassador course, like Whitney was talking about. But then there are additional benefits too to being a Champion Plus. So you have increased visibility, and whether that's through case studies or, for example, we have Michael here on best practice session participation. So that's another form of increased visibility. There is a 12-week expedited certification review timeline that's added at a benefit to this tier. The 5% discount is still available, but for this tier, it's available on an unlimited number of certification fees for the commitment period. You get a dedicated relationship manager. So you might be working with me or Whitney or someone else from our team, which, that's a whole thing that we can discuss later on as well, what that benefit unlocks. And then also there's priority access to select resources, pilots, webinars as well. So there's a lot of enhanced benefits to this status. And the goal here isn't just about differentiation, it's clarity. So we want every organization to understand where they stand today, what their participation represents, and what that next step could look like in their effort to scale their use of Fitwel. So I think it is time to go ahead and do a fun user spotlight, live Q&A. So while it is important to always talk about these benefits and the structure, what I really want to do is talk about how this shows up in real life in practice. So with that, I'm thrilled to welcome Michael Kloha from Verdani Partners to share his perspective as a longtime champion provider. So welcome, Michael.
Hi again.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. We really appreciate it. So briefly, do you mind introducing yourself and tell us about, your role at Verdani Partners and then how long you've been engaging with Fitwel?
Sure. Yeah, thank you, Anna. I'm currently an associate director of certifications at Verdani, where I work closely with clients to figure out how certifications can support their broader ESG and sustainability goals, whether that's for a single building or rolling out certifications across an entire portfolio. I was first introduced to Fitwel about 7 years ago, which is a long time. When I joined Verdani in January 2019, and I earned my Fitwel ambassador credential actually shortly after, I think in March. Um, it was actually my second green building credential right after becoming a lead green associate. So I was really excited to keep building on that foundation and continue growing my knowledge in the industry.
Awesome. And again, thank you so much for participating today. And I echo what you said earlier. How was 2019, 7 years ago? I just don't
Yeah.
understand. But anyways, thank you for being part of the Fitwel community for so long. You've been a pleasure to work with, and we're so happy to have you here. So what would you say initially drew Verdani as a provider to the loyalty program, and what's kind of kept you all engaged over time?
Yeah, so a lot of our core clients were drawn to Fitwel early on because it offered a cost-effective and a practical approach to health and wellness certifications. That really opened the door for us to take on a wide range of projects over the years. When the Champion Provider Program was introduced, it felt like a natural next step, especially for clients looking to scale Fitwel across their portfolios. The discounted fees and having a dedicated relationship manager were big advantages. As the program continued to evolve, we were excited to see even more benefits added, such as, yeah, the expedited review timelines was a big one. Um, Overall, we've had a really positive experience and have truly enjoyed building such a strong working relationship with the Fitwell team over the years.
Well, I've been lucky enough to be Verdani's relationship manager now for, gosh, almost a year, which it seems like how has that time flown even?
Yeah,
So,
felt longer.
um, I know. But it's been really rewarding to, help support you guys and your team. And I really look forward to continuing to work with you all. So thank you for that. But
Mhm.
so how does participation in this loyalty program support Verdani's broader goals, whether it's a client outcome, ESG strategy, marketing position, et cetera? So how do you feel most supported by this participation?
Overall, it helps like reinforce Verdani's position as a trusted consultant in the industry. Our clients know that they can count on us to deliver high quality Fitwell applications and strong, reliable service for every project. As a company, we're always striving to produce exceptional work, and designations like premium provider help validate that commitment. It's also a great way to showcase both the quality of our work and the reputation we've built over time.
That's amazing to hear, and exactly why we continue to evolve this program and continue to add value for our partners and their clients. So, what have you found to be the most valuable aspect of being a Champion Plus provider and now a premium provider?
I would say the biggest highlights has been our ability to collaborate closely with the Fitwell team to help improve the rating system. As you and Anna both know, our team reaches out a lot with questions and feedback and ideas about specific strategies and requirements. And we've always felt heard in those conversations. We truly appreciate that the Fitwell team takes our feedback seriously and makes updates when it makes sense. The level of partnership isn't always the norm with other rating systems, so it's something we really value and don't take for granted.
Yeah, and we really appreciate you saying that, Michael, because we really do highly value that human aspect of our partnership and are always striving to bring that to the forefront. So thank you for feeling that way because it makes us feel
Mhm.
validated.
Absolutely.
um, so for organizations considering, deeper engagement or moving into that Champion Plus status, what are some lessons learned that you think you could share with your peers today?
I'd say that if you're looking to scale Fitwell certifications across a portfolio and move into like the Champion Plus status, one of the biggest things that's helped us develop or is developing a strong internal templates that we've used across all of our projects. We've built out template narratives, policies, calculators, information tables, and scorecards that make documentation much more efficient and help streamline our overall process. Since Fitwell can be pretty detailed and technical at times, having those resources in place really keeps you from having to reinvent the wheel with every single application. It's been a huge time saver and has allowed our team to take on a lot more projects over the years.
Amazing. And you're right, Fitwel can be detailed and technical, especially for newer users, which is
Mhm.
exactly why there's so much value in working with people like Verdani as Champion Plus providers and premium providers. We do have our little new referral page for the premium provider. If anybody wants to take a look, if you're a new user to Fitwel and looking for a provider to work with. So one last question for you, Michael. What is one thing you didn't anticipate when you first joined the program that turned out to be especially valuable?
Yeah, building on what I mentioned earlier about collaborating with the Fitwell team, we've also been really encouraged to see the technical updates to the like Fitwell platform and other tools, that reflect feedback we've shared over the years. Features like the recertification, pre-approvals, and portfolio-wide solutions have made a big difference in streamlining our workflows and improving efficiency across all our projects. It's been great to see those innovations come to life, and we're excited to keep sharing ideas and contributing to future improvements.
Amazing. Michael, thank you for sharing your perspective with us. It's incredibly
Mhm.
helpful to hear how participation in the program really translates into real world impact across portfolios for your clients and how it can benefit you all internally at Verdani.
Yeah.
What you've described, scaling health strategies, aligning with client goals, building long-term value is exactly why we continue to evolve, not just the loyalty program, but the Fitwel standard itself. And I just want to answer one Q&A question live real quick about qualification for unlocking the champion program. You can reach out to us directly. There's a contact us button on the champion page itself on our website, and it'll come to us in our ticketing platform. So we'll be happy to let you know where you stand currently if you're interested. And with that, I'll hand it over to Rachel to walk us through what's new with Fitwel V3 and the new enhancements.
Great. Thanks, Whitney. So thanks for having me on the webinar today. Today, I'm going to cover an overview of the V3 enhancements, talk a little bit about the timeline and the intent of this process, our feedback process in general, and how community feedback really informs these V3 enhancements, and then talk a little bit about the valuable resources that will support you in your V3 submissions. We'll also talk about how V3 can support a better user experience, stronger health outcomes, and alignment with current industry needs. And then Whitney and Anna will touch a little bit on what this means for existing users and projects, new projects, and portfolio-wide strategies. And then really just want to kind of highlight that these enhancements really reflect the feedback we've received from users, partners, and certification teams over the past several months. So we're really excited to share them with you.
And Rachel, can I just say we're all really excited about this as well, just as much as probably our users are. We know how many of them have been eager to put these refinements into practice. So thanks for diving into what this is going to mean for existing users, new submissions, portfolio-wide strategies shortly even. So I'll let you go ahead. Can you just walk us through what these when these enhancements will officially be available?
Of course. So these enhancements will be available on the Fitwel platform early next week. So in the meantime, you can check out the checklist and the change logs, which are available now. You can find the links to them in the chat. And the enhancements will be updated and implemented on the Help Center for the strategy requirements for your reference this week. It may be available today. And then as part of the Q1 2026 enhancements, just to kind of talk a little bit about it, we focused on really making the strategies more feasible, scalable, straightforward to implement, particularly for those teams working across larger buildings or portfolios. So for example, with the indoor air quality assessment protocol, we, based on feedback, we reduced the number of required metrics to be tested or monitored from 6 to 5. This ensures that the strategy can be fully achieved through monitoring alone, and it provides greater flexibility in how teams can pursue compliance. We also introduced a tiered density requirement for that. This is especially impactful for larger buildings to reduce costs while still maintaining the rigor of the standards. So scaling the density requirements appropriately, we're making the strategy more practical to implement at scale without compromising its intent. Another key enhancement in the cycle was the introduction of the fillable form templates for select protocols. So for the cleaning protocol and chemical purchasing protocol, what you'll see soon are these templates that are designed to provide a clear, structured framework that your teams can use consistently. They're particularly helpful, we hope, for portfolio-wide submissions. It should help clarify exactly what information needs to be included, streamline the documentation preparation, and reduce that back and forth that can happen during the certification and review process. So again, the goal of this is really to just improve feasibility and efficiency and help the team spend less time interpreting, formatting requirements, and spend more time focusing on the implementation. And while we won't be diving into detailed strategy-specific enhancements during today's session, we'll be walking through the new templates in depth during a future webinar, but we wanted to kind of highlight these examples to really demonstrate how this cycle continues to prioritize clarity, scalability, and user experience. And Michael, since we have you today, thank you again for joining us. As someone who's actively engaged with Fitwel and provided feedback over time, your perspective is incredibly valuable. So to start, I'd really love to hear your overall impression of this enhancement process and these Q1 2026 enhancements.
Yeah, I would say the clarifications in particular have really helped get us a handle on all the, requirements, especially with all the new and updated like V3 Fitwell strategies that we've been, getting up to speed with. Also, we were happy to see expansions implemented based on our feedback to make strategies more accessible and aligned with their original intent. Overall, these enhancements have improved our consulting process by clearly outlining the requirements of each strategy, which has allowed us to develop better applications, reduce review comments, and shorten project timelines.
That's really great to hear. I'd love to hear if you have seen any examples where maybe common questions or pain points with clients and their projects were addressed or clarified in later enhancements, and maybe share an example of how a pathway helped unlock additional points or make a strategy more feasible. And Michael, we don't have to put you on the spot. Whitney and Anna, feel free to also share anything you've heard from other clients as well.
Yeah, I can jump in to help to help answer for Michael. So Rachel, this is actually something that our team sees quite often, and specifically, I can speak to the enhancements that were made to the IAQ testing and monitoring protocol, like you mentioned earlier. That's based on feedback we collected. Excuse me. So our team worked with clients who submitted feedback in regards to that strategy, and we really wanted to make sure that not only did we understand like the user's perspective, but that could translate to you, Rachel, and your team so that you can incorporate that feedback into the strategy requirements. And it's been really exciting to see those efforts and all that coordination and back and forth between both parties like come to fruition and show up. So that's just one example. There are several others, but that's a big one for us that we saw immediate action on, and it's live now. So it's really exciting to see.
Yeah, thank you. So Michael, as we mentioned, you and the Verdani team were really involved in the feedback process for V3, even in the original development of V3. Can you provide a few examples of where you saw your feedback being reflected in the enhancements?
Absolutely. So one example that comes to mind is the expanded pathways for things like health programming and services. In this like post-COVID and work from home era, we've seen many clients offer very robust virtual programming, especially across large portfolios. And it wasn't always clear whether, that as we've gotten kind of out of COVID, that was, still applicable or like accepted by Fitwel. Seeing some of the other seeing some of those options clarified or expanded in the enhancements have really been helpful because it better reflects that what clients are actually doing in practice. It makes it easier for us to align their existing programs with Fitwel requirements without having to build something entirely new to meet the strategy. And then we were also very happy to see the policy templates developed by Fitwel to clarify the specific language that is needed in each of those, or like each of the various policies. This past year, we did a huge revamp of client policies to align with all the new certification requirements, not just Fitwel. So these templates saved us a lot of time and effort in that effort.
Thanks for sharing. And that was absolutely the goal of the template. So really happy to hear that that's working for you guys. I know that overworking policies can be a really difficult thing to go through from what we've heard in working with clients. So something else I just wanted to ask was if you feel like the Fitwel team's been responsive to user insights and real world implementation challenges, or does knowing that your feedback directly informs these refinements kind of help increase your confidence in this long-term adoption of Fitwel and using it across your portfolio?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that stands out about Fitwel is that the feedback process really does feel collaborative. When we raise questions or run into challenges on projects, it feels like those conversations actually go somewhere rather than ending up in a generic inbox. Knowing that user feedback plays a key role in shaping updates definitely gives us more confidence recommending Fitwel to clients long term, because we know the system is continuing to evolve alongside real world implementation. As consultants, we certainly try to bridge that gap and relay feedback between on-site property teams and certification program decision makers to make the rating system as accessible as possible.
Thanks for sharing your insight on the feedback process. And I know having Anna, for example, to kind of help support and have those conversations is probably particularly helpful. As part of this Q1 2026 enhancement release, we've refreshed several resources to make it easier for everyone to understand the enhancements and to make it easier to confidently implement Fitwel across the project. So as always, just kind of talk a little bit about some of the resources we have. As always, we have the checklists, which serve as working documents to help your teams track progress towards certification. So we've updated those V3 scorecard strategy checklists to align with those Q1 2026 enhancements. So you'll find new pathways for compliance for select strategies. So for example, like Michael mentioned, that virtual health programming option for the health programming and services. We also have the V2.1 to V3 crosswalks, which help those transitioning projects or managing portfolios across versions to understand how those strategies translate between them. So if you're wondering what changed from the previous version or what does this mean for my V2.1 project recertifying on V3, the crosswalk is really your starting point. And, you know, speaking of recertification, we have a great Q1 discount going on right now. So we'll make sure to plug that code into the chat box now. And then perhaps maybe most relevant to the V3 enhancements in this conversation are the V3 change logs. So with every enhancement cycle, really transparency with us is key. So the change logs outline exactly what has been updated as part of the enhancement cycle. So you'll see where clarifications were made, where compliance pathways were expanded, where requirements were refined to improve flexibility. And so as part of this enhancement release, you'll notice changes that should hopefully reduce administrative burden and documentation. And you'll also see clarifying language to support more consistent and confident submissions. So really the change logs provide just a clear record of updates for each new scorecard across each enhancement phase. So in this round of the change logs, you'll see what changed from the launch to our enhancements last year in Q1 of 2025, and then from that version to the Q1 2026 enhancements. And then finally, the Help Center. So the Help Center has the scorecard strategy articles with the full strategy requirements and compliance documentation language. And so that has been updated to reflect the Q1 2026 enhancements too. On the Help Center, you can also find resources for implementation guidance, sample documentation for some strategies. This is something that we're going to continue to expand on. But if you're unsure how to document something or interpret a requirement, I highly recommend the Help Center as maybe a first stop. It's really designed to help support you at every stage of the process. And this enhancement cycle kind of continues our commitment to clarity and flexibility and responsiveness to user feedback. And like I mentioned, we'll be continuing to build out our resources and the Help Center to make the adoption of V3 seamless and these enhancements seamless. Michael, from your perspective as a user, how do these resources help you navigate the enhancements when they're released? And maybe you want to speak to, even from the previous round when we had the change logs first time.
Yeah, I'd say the resources really help us get to speed quickly with or like when updates come out. Since we're usually working on multiple projects at once, being able to reference the checklist and change logs helps us understand what's different without having to dig through every strategy individually. It makes it easier to communicate changes internally and ensure that everyone on the team is aligned.
That makes sense. And what's the first resource you typically turn to when enhancements are made?
I I usually start with the change logs. That's always a good place to start because it gives you a really clear snapshot of what's changed. That helps me, quickly figure out whether the updates impact any of our active projects. From there, I'll usually look at the checklists or the Help Center articles if we need, more details on a specific strategy.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then when those, maybe you still have questions that come up around interpreting a requirement or documenting compliance, how do you typically approach that?
When something isn't totally clear, we usually start with the Help Center. A lot of the time, the answer is already there, whether it's in the strategy articles, implementation guidance, or sample documentation. If we're still unsure, that's when we'll reach out to Anna as our relationship manager to guide us. But overall, the Help Center has been very useful for quickly answering many of our questions that come up. And I will mention that with the what is it, the offline checklists, like the Excel checklists, I think one of the best things is that they have all those links to the strategies, so we don't have to like bookmark things necessarily. We have that, which is usually a tool we use in our project management of, with client teams. So being able to like, oh, a client has a quick question about one of the strategies, we'll just quickly can like click on it and it'll pop up right then and there.
Yeah, that's great. Love to hear that. And thank you for sharing that. Um, so I guess another question I would have is kind of how these enhancements, you see how this kind of reflects on the user feedback responsiveness. I know you talked a little bit about that process and how you were involved in that before. So just want to kind of hear a little bit more about this enhancement process.
I think many of the enhancements reflect the kinds of questions and challenges that come up during, real projects. Things like clarified requirements, templates, and expanded compliance options all make a big difference from an implementation standpoint. It shows that the updates aren't just theoretical, they're based on how teams are actually using Fitwel day to day.
Great. And what would you say to another user about, uh, participating in the feedback process? Maybe kind of share with them some encouragement.
Yeah, I definitely encourage people to share any feedback when you have it. Even small clarifications or suggestions can make a big difference over time. More often than not, other teams will have the same issues come up in their projects, so it never hurts to make that extra effort to improve, the rating system. From our experience, the Fitwel team really does take the input seriously, and it's rewarding to see those ideas show up in future updates. It helps make the system better, not just for us, but for everyone using it. And I will, tag on that, like, especially if things keep coming up, you just like we always keep bringing it up to you guys. Almost,
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
always we're always like conscious of like, I feel like we're annoying them, but there have been like
squeaky
things that
wheel.
were like, this keeps coming up. Can you help us with this? So, but you have all been like really gracious and helpful when we do that. So,
Thank you for that. We definitely do track like the number of instances that we get feedback. Of course, every piece can't be implemented right away, but when we see this come up, pieces of feedback come up time and time again, that's when we really can sit down and say, okay, what can we do about this? So thank you for sharing.
100%. Yeah, and
absolutely.
on that last point that Michael made, we do encourage everybody submit feedback at any point in the year, at any point in the process. We don't just have comment periods. We really do intentionally collect your feedback at all times because Rachel and her team are always, looking at the feedback that comes in, making sure that we can assess those things ahead of enhancements like this coming out. So definitely we encourage you, use those feedback forms, reach out to our team. We really want to know how you're using Fitwel. Okay, well, thank you so much for going through all of that, Rachel and Michael. We appreciate it. The last thing I want to cover in terms of V3 enhancements is what this means for existing users and projects and any new projects using V3. So for all in progress and in review projects, you will see these enhancements show up on your digital project scorecard as soon as they're released on the platform. And as Rachel mentioned, that will be happening next week. So this should not impact your submission or any progress that you've made, because it's very intentional. If you've done any documenting or made any assertions on your scorecard, you really should not be impacted. This will also, there is potential here though to pursue additional strategies with these enhancements though. And I recommend reviewing the change logs to assess this, as we mentioned previously. So for newly registered projects or V3 recertifications initiated after next week, you will also see these enhancements as part of the scorecard upon registration, since they will be live. So again, reviewing the change logs and crosswalks will support your successful submissions. And as always, we encourage you to reach out. If you have any questions or concerns, you can reach out to us at info@fitwel.org via any of the contact us forms or to your relationship managers directly.
Great. Thanks for that, Whitney. And thank you, Rachel and Michael, for your back and forth. I think it was super helpful. We're at time. So in the interest of, everyone being able to have a couple breaks or something before their next call, we will go ahead and not do a live Q&A, but we do want to encourage everyone, please reach out, use those contact forms that Whitney mentioned, info@.com, reach out to your relationship manager. Any questions you have today, please let us know. We'll be happy to answer in a follow-up. But I do want to thank everyone for joining us today, for being a part of the Fitwel community. I really think this is a really encouraging conversation that we had. We are encouraging you to explore that loyalty program resources that we've been sharing, whether it's the website or the one-pager, for you to connect with our team if you have any unanswered questions, and definitely keep an eye out for upcoming sessions. We are doing these on a regular basis now. So I think our next one is going to be March 25th. We plan on discussing portfolio-wide solutions with a guest speaker from Retech Advisors. So stay tuned for that. We will share the link to that here in our, thank you, Janelle, in our chat for you. And we briefly mentioned earlier, but I also want to quickly flag again for those of you that are planning on recertification this year, we are currently offering that limited time recertification discount to help teams maintain certification status and protect their GRES credit heading into that 2026 year. So if you have projects that are coming up for renewal, this is a great opportunity to lock in that savings and keep your certification active and stay on track with all of your reporting. So we are also going to reshare that in the link in the chat right now.
Definitely. And if you have projects eligible for recertification, don't wait. This is a great opportunity. 30% discount on your recertifications through the end of next month. So we're excited about what's ahead and grateful for everyone's continued engagement. As a reminder, a recording of today's session will be shared soon via email, along with a couple of Q&A questions just to make sure everybody got their questions answered. We'll send those out as well. And the best practice session can be found on the Help Center in the link that Janelle just shared in the chat. So thanks again, everyone, and we will see you hopefully in March.
Bye. Thank you, Rachel.
Bye.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Michael, for
everyone.
joining.
Yep.
Thank you all.
Have a good one.